So just spent a couple hours over here at Zach's getting the compound turbos set up. He got them all bolted on before and just kind of put in place. I reclocked the turbo housings to get the drains pointing down. And then we started messing around with alignment, trying to get stuff to fit. This top turbo here runs kind of a weird exhaust housing from Savage Fab. So if you look at it, the center line of the exhaust is not necessarily center line with the turbo, versus if you look at like the big boy here, everything's in line. So I think that's messing with the kit a little bit, where this is supposed to come up. And what we kind of are running into is, if I can find the pipe, is when this goes here and goes down into place, it puts this in a really weird spot where it doesn't, like, it lines up on the flange, but it doesn't line up in the center of the turbo, or it's in the center of the turbo, but it doesn't line up with the V-band flange there. What we're kind of looking at is getting this back hot pipe pretty much perpendicular to the block, straight up and down, which is pretty close. We may tweak it just a little bit, and then from there, looking at this, if we line up the center of this here and push this up, these two flanges get parallel, but they're too far away. So what we're gonna do is Zach is gonna put the motor into the truck, and that way we know for sure that everything fits, because there's, you know, the inner fender and stuff over here to worry about. But what's likely gonna happen is we're gonna cut a section out of this hot pipe. That's gonna bring the turbo down, but also over to line up with this charge pipe here. We're also gonna ditch the boot setup. We'll weld the V-band onto the compressor housing of the turbo and this, just to give it a nice clean look. And that'll help kind of tie everything together. From there, once it's in the truck, we can finalize the downpipe, getting that set up to hook up to the exhaust that I made previously when it was a single turbo. And then for now, we're just gonna run the wastegate to atmosphere. Once we go through kind of a break-in tune type setup, we may explore running the wastegate into the hot pipe to help feed the big charger. But from there, everything's fitting together pretty nice. We're gonna do something a little bit different with the support bracket and the engine mount, just because it's nice and clean. Oil lines are in place, they fit pretty good. We gotta get some oil feed lines made up, because those are just too small, -4, way too small. And that's it. Zach's gonna get it put in the truck, and then one step from there, I'll bring over all the fabrication stuff, and we'll get everything welded out over here. All right, back over at Zach's house. He's been busy. He got the motor in the truck. Everything's set up, kind of ready for us to get the little touches in. So a couple things we can take care of. I'm over here tonight. We're getting the oil lines kind of figured out, routing. I got some test fittings over there to figure out how we want to route stuff, so I can get the oil lines made. The oil lines that came with the kit, we weren't really a fan of. They were kind of undersized. So we're stepping up to the right size. It's kind of what we ran before, which should work out. And then goal is later in the week to be able to test fire it, run it, break in the cam and all that. And then from there, we can get the rest of the piping and stuff situated for the exhaust and intercooler and stuff. Got a bunch of stuff on order, piping, purge kit, stuff like that. Good excuse to get some good stainless welding in. But other than that, we're gonna get some of the turbo lines figured out, see how we want to route stuff. We got to look into how we're going to route the heater hoses as well, because between the downpipe being right there and then the wastegate up top, we may have to do something a little bit different with with that, but that's not a big deal. So once we have a plan, I'll let you know where we're at. All right, so the other night when we were over Zach's, one of the things that we looked at and wanted to prepare for was what we're going to do for the exhaust when we do the break-in procedure. The break-in procedure is going to get done without the rest of the turbo kit being done just due to time. But we want to get the break-in done at Zach's house, and then we'll probably end up coming back over here for all the final fab work. So the pieces of exhaust that came with the Evil Fab compound kit, we're just going to use 2 of those and kind of just weld up a makeshift. Actually, this is going to go that way. But a makeshift kind of hood stack, if you say. There's no hood on the truck. But this way the exhaust points up and not straight into the firewall. We don't want to cause any damage with that. But we're just going to get this tacked up, just a couple tacks, nothing crazy, so it's ready to go on the truck. So that's all set, just a couple tacks on there, hold it in place, but not too crazy because we're still gonna have to reuse this stuff, so we wanna be able to get it cut apart. But next time you see this pipe, it's gonna be on the truck and it's gonna be stuff coming out of there. right here with the turbo blowing right at me the whole time. Yeah.